Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talk is Cheap with your girl Kiki Green. Shout out to everybody who is listening. Hello in the chat room. How you doing? To everybody on Facebook and from Blog Talk Radio. At any time you want to chime in, the number to call 619-924-0779. You can call in to listen from your phone. If you want to speak, press 1, and that raises your hand here on my studio control board. Lets me know that you want to get in. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the health care bill. What happened last Friday with that, okay? And who is to blame? Would you blame Paul Ryan? Would you blame the Republicans? Was it just not the right bill, not the right time? We're going to go into that. We're going to talk about sanctuary cities as well and what we will and will not be tolerating going forward in the United States of America in regards to sanctuary cities, and also how sanctuary cities have negatively impacted our community and our inner cities. And we're also going to talk about what's true and not true about the missing D.C. girls. That it seems to be something that started off with good intentions coming from the Metro Police Department out of D.C., but something happened. Social media and the celebrities got a hold of it and kind of made up a lot of fake news. But then again, maybe that's exactly what was intended. So I'm going to give you my theory on what's going on with the news coverage of the missing D.C. girls. I want you guys to get nice and comfy and cozy. So I'm going to play a song here so you guys can relax and get acclimated and everything like that. Give my callers a chance to call in, okay? So give me just a few moments. We'll be right back after this little joint here from Janet Jackson. You are listening to Talk is Cheap with Kiki Green.
Most popular stories on our NBC app this week is about missing girls. Our story debunks a fake report that 14 girls went missing from D.C. in just one day. D.C. police told us they're simply sharing missing person cases more often on social media. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children agrees there is no increase here.
To address what has now risen to a national worry, Catherine came home. Things are complicated. There are issues. Her mother says she's run away many times before. Catherine won't say where she was, but says many of the missing teens in D.C. simply want out.
They're leaving. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what they're trying to find.
That's all us parents want, is for them to pick up a phone and say, hey, I'm all right.
A mother of 4, Katrina is the first to tell you she and her daughter Catherine have a long road ahead, but at least they are together. In the district, Kristen Wright, News 4.
Am I the only one who finds this problematic? Now, I'm going to tell you why I believe that this is another storyline that has been crafted by the left. In the same way that I believe that the left had their hand in telling the media to start covering shootings of unarmed black men. It's not a matter of me saying whether or not these things need to be exposed or these things need to be discussed with the mainstream and with every American, okay? That's not the part that's debatable. The part that I'm questioning is why now? Because I happen to know for a fact that there are lots and hundreds of people, thousands of people probably even, I mean millions if we count the years and years and years of inequality among other things going on in this country. Why now? At this particular time, do we see the media wanting to cover certain things? Now, in this very coverage here, they start off telling you, this is from, this is directly from Washington, what will be their NBC, right? NBC. So they're saying there's no uptake in missing black people or missing young girls, okay? They say that they just decided to start sharing it on social media. They want to use the social media platforms, and they want to bring attention to it. And they explained to us that this is the call being made by the woman who is now working over that department. Let me get her name because I know I have it. Commander Chanel Dickerson. Okay? So Chanel Dickerson comes in. She says, I want to post these missing persons. And because there were some that were not from that time frame, could have been missing months or even years in advance, but people did not look at all of that. They just see this Twitter feed all of a sudden with all these missing black girls. They counted them up, and then they told everybody this all happened in one day. But every celebrity who has millions and millions and millions of followers, and this is what I want to bring to, because I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking to you, and we're going to get on politics, I'm going to move on, but this is why I feel this is all connected, because these are this type of the games and the tricks that the left play to get emotionally involved, get black people emotionally involved in controversial stories that have nothing to do with policy in order to say, hey, look at me, I'm your ally, I'm your friend. Because we're going to get to the part where the Congressional Black Caucus gets involved and Jeff Sessions gets involved. But just know that they've been saying since 2 days after it hit social media and spread everywhere, they've been trying to clear it up, saying we've returned a lot of these girls back. One figure I heard in this here report, they said there were 17 underage girls. In another report, they say it was 10 underage girls, and 6 of them have been returned, and that they were all runaways. Now, before we get to the part where Jeff Sessions has to step in, LL Cool J, this is insanity. Hashtag DC Missing Girl. LL Cool J been in the music business as long as I've been on this planet. Okay? And I'm not going to sit here and say he's never done any charitable work, but he has not made finding missing young black women his life work. This is, whatever's going on in the black community is not news to him. They quote Chanel, who does agree with the fact that, these are mostly runaways, and, well, she says, when children of color go missing, authorities often assume they're runaways rather than victims of abduction. Oh, no, that's coming from the Black Caucus. I want to get to this part here. Somewhere in here she says something to the effect of, well, they're runaways, but there's things going on in the community that's causing this type of behavior, and we need to work on that. But you guys have phrased it as if it was an abduction situation going on. We know there's problems in inner city communities that cause runaways and people to have to go into foster care and that kind of stuff like that. And I guarantee you that's been going on the entire time that LL Cool J's been a celebrity. But LL Cool J has not made it his life's mission. He was not worried about it, okay, until this came across his news feed and he had to give you a hashtag with exclamation points so that you would know how serious this is. And this is something that is going, this story is going to go away. They're going to make it disappear like it never happened after they get what they need out of it. But I just find it very important to point to people the subtle ways that they control people and manipulate their emotions and make decisions for them. You know, these mind control games here, this mass programming, when it happens, Andy Cohen, unite to find hashtag missing DC girls. This is unfathomable. You know how large Andy Cohen's audience is? Now, according to the person in charge, the police department's commander, Chanel Dickerson, according to her, these people are missing because they're coming out of bad homes. According to the news article, these people are these kids have run away because of what was going on inside of their household. Andy Cohen makes millions and millions and millions of dollars by showing women acting an ass. Yes or no? Because if I'm lying, I'm flying. But last week he became concerned. Give me a break. It is just this simple. They just literally sit around and say, okay, well, we need a new storyline. The same way they build these reality TV shows. Now, once LL Cool J and Andy Cohen and those people like that say it's okay to feel a certain type of way about something, well, then, of course, you got the rest of these ratchets all over Instagram. And those of you, my sophisticated audience listeners, you know you've held down jobs and paid bills and bought things and acquired assets and voted several times, etc. This stuff is so petty and minute. But I want you to take yourself back to being 18 years old, because 18-year-olds can vote. And at 18 years old, war is bad. All the time, death is bad. You know, I wish we could save everybody in the world. You have a little bit of hope, you know, at least, for humanity and everything to be okay and right with the world. And you're an open canvas for these people who control the media, who let you know when there's a problem, when it's to their convenience. And as soon as you support Donald Trump, as soon as you say, you know, I don't want to be bothered with the damn Democrats no more, I'm going to be a Republican, or I'm going to be an independent, or a libertarian, or whatever the case it is. As soon as you come off that plantation, they're calling you all out your damn name. But I want you guys to really think about these young people who spend all day on social media, and they give this more attention than anything else. And when the people who have millions of dollars, who's been in every movie they've been watching since they were little kids, tell them what to care about, then they're going to take their focus there. And irregardless to the fact that there is other information that's coming out telling them the contrary, once the emotional trauma from the news has happened, the truth and all of that cannot get in. So this is why here we are, and this is going to lead into the other topics we're talking about today. And feel free to press 1. I'll bring you guys in. But this is why these things are connected, because they train you how to think. So by the time you voted a few times, you know, you get to your even 30s and your 40s, these are the people who you are looking at, and you can't seem to help them understand why you feel that Donald Trump is still, regardless of what's going on with the health care bill, any of that bill or any of that, this man is the best man to be president. Look at all the disgusting things the Democratic Party have done. Well, they can't see it. They're blinded to it. They have no response to it. Anything that doesn't say Obama is the Messiah, anything that comes out here and says Democrats are not better than Republicans, anything that comes out here and says this socialist half-ass way y'all want to do stuff is like horrible. This is a bad idea, okay? Anybody who's going against their, Disney programming, they cannot hear you. So a lot of you guys are still trying to convince people, okay? And if that's what you want to do with your time, go ahead. But those of you who have decided you're going to keep your politics to your heart, close to your chest, and you're going to kind of mind your business and vote in your own best interest and do what works for you, don't feel guilty, because you have the right to make that decision. And I talk about mental health, okay? I talk about mental health on my channel, on my YouTube channel, because these things that are going on that people are being exposed to, it's affecting the way people process information. The fact that you can try your ass off in some kind of way, not still be able to reach the levels of success you're seeing around these people on TV, etc., that's making it look so effortless. That is driving people crazy. The type of pressure to perform, to be beautiful, to be sexy, to be handsome, to live on your own, to get married, to have children, to stay married, to raise good children. The pressure that comes along with those things. And then the image of the perfect image of what it's supposed to be that they drill into your head in this country. And then to take it to another level, some people are able to decipher for themselves what's best for them. But that still takes practice. I think we would all agree, right? Some people don't necessarily have that muscle to fight through all these different mind control games and all that kind of stuff, and they just succumb to it. And so I do think we should have some compassion. But I'm telling you that putting our trust and our loyalty and trying to spread that all around the world, I think, is one of their mind control techniques. Because just think about it. If there was no television and you lived in the cave or the safari or on an island or whatever the hell, you would be trying to worry about how can you feed yourself and your family. That's what you would be worried about, right? You would not be worried about whether or not people are being taken advantage of in Afghanistan. And no, we have not treated everybody nice and fairly around the world. But how much of that is personally your responsibility? So now we're at the health care bill. How much of that is personally your responsibility to pay for the rest of everybody else in this country who has the right to make decisions the same way that you do? Because those of us who have done everything by the book the way that they say that you're supposed to do it, just because you go to college and get a professional job does not guarantee you financial freedom or a good interest rate or the best neighborhoods or the best career. Right? Just because you go buy a new car don't mean that it's going to work at optimal condition the whole time or, hell, for the first couple months for that matter. We don't know what we're getting into. There's a lot of work that goes into even being able to get to work, right? There's a lot of work that goes into being able to maintain your relationships, have a family, and provide, and then the government is taking taxes already as it is. So why is it the responsibility of people in their 20s and 30s who are not using health care services as extensively as older people or people with pre-existing conditions? Why is it their responsibility to pay because they simply can't afford it? Now, what we would like to do is have a country, and I know this is getting off in that fairy tale land, but we would like to live in a place where people made enough money to retire well and to afford good health care and good health insurance. We would like to live in a place where people could work well and afford to keep their kids on their insurance as long as they can afford it, if they want to, if that's their own personal choice. But we would also like to live in a world where a young person can say, you know what, this is the kind of health care that I need because for the most part, I'm healthy. So this is what I need. And as a matter of fact, there are some other things that are of more importance to me, maybe as far as reproduction or dental hygiene or something like that. And I would like rather to have better plans where I can put my money there as opposed to some of this other, general practice stuff that I'm never going to use, or et cetera. So, bottom line is, insurance is a Ponzi scheme. Trying to make it make sense. You can't. You can't make it make sense because it don't make sense. Insurance is a Ponzi scheme. Just like the car insurance is a joke. All this shit is a joke. However, since we live in America, and we have the right to come up with these felonious-ass companies and ideas and all of that kind of stuff. And if people going to fall for it or they have to participate because the benefits outweigh, whatever, knock yourself out. Because you can do that because it's in America. It's America. But absolutely hell no. Can you come and tell me that I have to participate in your Ponzi scheme or else you're going to charge me? I'm going to tell you what's wrong with the Republicans' bill. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. The idea of putting forth another bill, period. I do not need you to replace Obamacare. I need you to repeal it and put it back the way the hell everything was when nobody was complaining. See, Obama brought his smooth talking ass out here and told everybody they needed universal health care. When you say universal health, I can't speak for everybody else, okay? I'm black. I'm telling you what black people heard. Black people heard free health care. That's what we heard. I know. We heard free. I don't know what y'all heard, but we heard free. That is not what we got. So listen here. If it's not going to be free, if you can't afford to make it free, if we're not going to do the free thing, free, not provisions, not, if you 17, pre-existing. No, I don't want to hear none of that, okay? Free. Either free or put it back the way that it was. Thank you, problem solved. So this whole game of getting these bills passed so they can get these little funny earmarks passed in this little whole, House of Cards game that they like to play with our money, that has to stop. This is a perfect example of that. Please, if you got Donald Trump's number, tell him that Kiki said, just put it back the way it was. Nobody was even complaining. Now, For those of you real conservatives out there who say free health care, oh, absolutely not. We can't afford that. I'm not with that either. Hey, I understand. Be true to you, okay? Don't be no Tommy Lauren out here in these streets. But if we're going to pay NASA all these gabillions of dollars for whatever the hell they over there pretending to be doing, you know, there are areas that can get cut around here to quit playing. Coming out here talking about they got NASA has discovered a new pill. Google this, y'all. I'm not making this up. NASA discovered a new pill that will help you live forever on Mars. They don't stop lying. How much did that cost? How much we pay for you to pretend like you made up a pill that we can live forever, but it only works if you live on Mars? How stupid are you? Are you that stupid? Because I'm not that stupid. So we stop playing stupid and figure out where this money is going and start taking money from where they playing with our money and take it back. That's where we'll lower the and put it towards what? Put it back in my damn pocket, and I'll buy my own health insurance. Because I really want to eat organic, but I can't afford it. The more I spend on health care, the more damn McDonald's I got to eat. While you out here penalizing somebody. Right? The cheaper alcohol I got to buy, the more money I'm giving you for health insurance. This is why people eat the way they do and drinking and smoking and everything else the way that they do. Because y'all getting on everybody's nerves and driving them crazy. This is where the anxiety is coming from. This is where all the mental health conditions are coming from. Oh, who benefits off of that? The Affordable Health Care Act, that's who. Talk about depression. You think you're getting a refund. Oh, no, you're getting penalized because you only made a couple dollars an hour. I mean, look at how many companies completely quit offering full-time. We're going to part-time now because we don't want to participate in whatever mandatory situation they had going on. So I'm just saying, let's just stop playing games with these Democrats when it comes to this health care bill. Put it back the way it was. Or how about you repeal and replace damn NASA with some real science and take that damn money that we pissing down the toilet over there for them to send me coloring book pictures. Now, I'm concerned with y'all who believe that everybody is lying to you, but then when it comes to something that you're interested in and whatever lie you like, now all of a sudden your brain don't work. All these people are full of it. Okay? The teachers is full of it. The scientists is full of it. The politicians are full of it. Not just in this country. All around the world, Craig, everybody is full of it. And we don't really know what is going on. So I would really sincerely advise people to nurture themselves and their own family members and the people directly around them, man. And stop letting them tell you what direction to look at because it's a little trickaroo game they pulling so they can steal your money from you. We got a caller from the 832 area code. You're live on Talk to Chief. The floor is yours.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Kiki.
Hey, the floor is yours. Where are you calling from?
From north of Houston, New Canaan, Texas.
All right. What's on your mind?
Well, I just want to say that I'm very grateful for everything that you do and how your voice is out here and you speak. It's not many black women that I know that have the same opinions that you have, that I have, because many people tell me that the opinions I have, they say, oh, you want to be white, or, you know, even though I'm biracial, they say, oh, you're trying to be white. And it's ridiculous. It's plain ridiculous to me. But I don't understand why people... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Talk to me about some of those opinions.
Well, for example, my children, okay, so I'm biracial, I'm black and white. My children's father, he's black. Their family says I try to raise them white. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure they're educated and that they know about the world around them and that they know what they're in for. And it's not all about what y'all think it's about. I mean, it's just ridiculous the way that the stereotypes and the things that people think you should follow because of a certain race or creed that you are. I don't understand that.
Do you get the same thing from white people? Do white people say, like, you trying to raise them kids to be too black?
No, I really don't. I really don't. And where we stay is it's mostly a white population. I mean, there's I'm in Texas, so it's really a lot of Mexican people. My daughter goes to elementary school out here, my youngest, and most of the kids in the school, it was unbelievable to me. Like a brand new school, 80% of the kids are Mexican. There's very, very white kids and some black kids, but most of them are Hispanic.
And how do you feel like that impacts your kids' experience and their education?
Well, I mean, my kids, I've raised them to be, open-minded. We go to church a lot. I try to teach them, from the Bible, and, we're Christians. So to me, up front, that's the most important thing. And a lot of people aren't with that. That's not what's cool. That's not what's going on in the world, which is sad. But I try to teach my kids morals and values, and it's ridiculous that because you try to teach your kids to have an education, to have morals, to have standards for themselves, that people think that, oh, you're trying to make them white. What does that even mean? That's ridiculous to me.
It's absolutely ridiculous that we don't want the best. Do you have me on speakerphone? Because I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, I'll take you off.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting that we still make a difference in that way and say, oh, you're teaching these kids to be white, but that's coming from a history of black people not even being allowed to be but so educated for a significant amount of time. And I talk a lot about trauma, too, because people pass that trauma on. So that's basically what they're doing to you, because it's a fear for the future generations, because they feel like they've been held back, and like kind of like don't get your hopes up type thing is subconsciously what's going on. But that's not your problem. And if white people are bringing in the most money economically, okay, and are coming in number one for every single category about everything positive about making this country work somewhere, right? Then I feel like what we're supposed to be doing is comparing what's happening in our community to what's happening in their community. And we can't close the gap on everything, but certain things in terms of language is something that we certainly can build on. Now, my issue with the schools, especially in sanctuary cities, that's something else we're going to talk about today. My issue with them being so heavily filled with immigrant students or, Mexicans, a lot of these kids are first generation. So the school is spending all kind of resources, ESL classes and all this stuff, teaching them how to speak proper English. But then on the flip side, for the kids who might have broken English, if they're black, now they're considered to be slow or something like that, and they're held back instead of getting the additional help. So I remember when I was middle school age, I don't remember exactly who it was, but there was an educator who was trying to push Ebonics as a second language, basically saying, well, do we have to name whatever that language disparity is between black kids and white kids? Do we have to name it something? Because if so, let's just call it Ebonics, and then give us some federal funds to take these black kids who don't speak perfect English or whatever, and give them some English language classes. You know what I'm saying? Where we only focus on bringing them up to speed, and everybody made a joke out of it. And a lot of these black celebrities now who are so conscious today were the main ones who were making Ebonics jokes. And most people don't even know where that came from.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous to me. I don't understand how people want to be so self-ignorant. They watch this garbage on the TV. They hear these garbage music artists, and they think that that's life. That's not life. It's ridiculous.
Not life.
It's disgusting, and it just makes me sick that people think that that's life. That's not life. Like, how would you want to make yourself so self-ignorant? Like, what is attractive about that? Nothing.
And it's not even
No one
money
teaches
because
their kids that.
not
I'm
everybody
sorry,
else
go
teaches their
ahead.
kids that. Oh yeah, I'm saying we know it. We know it's not a money thing because I'm just thinking about the black celebrities that are constantly in the blogs, the people who claim to at least have a bunch of money. Supposedly they have everything you could ever want in the world, but they're arguing with their, kids' parents, or having these loud divorces and all this kind of stuff all over social media, and it's like I don't see, Scarlett Johansson and them, like going on Instagram trying to blast somebody. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
behavior
it's
coming out of
ridiculous.
these black celebrities, you're not seeing every people act like that. What was that?
It's really it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing to me that those are the people in the limelight representing the race. Like, how embarrassing is that? It's so embarrassing. And then when you are not the norm, because people see that, so they think that's the norm. And then when you're not the norm, they're like, oh, you're trying to be white. No, I'm trying to make something, or my kids are gonna be something. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, no one's trying to be anything, but we're trying to be educated and get somewhere in this world. Like, what is that?
Exactly. Well, and what's so unfortunate about it too is such a stigma on being a mother and being a baby's mama, so-called, in the black community has come from black women who have not been a good example that the media has exploited using these different talk shows and all this kind of stuff. And then it's like these girls don't know who their daddy is. Okay, so we went through a couple decades of that. So now being a black woman is synonymous with being a bad mother just based on what they're showing on television, to the point where now girls are running away from the idea of motherhood, or they don't even know how to be satisfied with it or enjoy it, because especially if they're not married, there is a stigma coming along with it, when people don't even know them personally. Does that make any sense?
Exactly. Like, I'm a mother. I had 4 kids with my children's father before I even got married. I'm married now, but I had 4 kids, and something in my heart told me I had to do better for my children. So I went to school. I went to nursing school to become a nurse. So that's what I did, because I knew my kids deserved better. I knew I needed to be a better role model, and that even though I was with their father, I had 4 kids with him, it was going nowhere. So I knew I had to do better. I'm married now, and so now I have 6 kids because I have 2 stepkids. But the point is, you can overcome anything. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. You don't have to just be like, oh, this is how it is. That's not how it is.
Amen.
And so many people get stuck into the fact that, oh, it's just like, it's not like that. You can overcome it. You can do anything. You just have to put your mind to it. You have to pray. You just got to do what you got to do and say, this is not going to be my life.
Amen to that. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Did you look into the missing DC girl situation? How did you feel about that when you started seeing that?
Yeah, I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm subscribed to a lot of different truther channels. Actually, that's how I found you, through a truther channel that I watch.
Cool.
So I do know about all the DC girls and the pedogate and all the different things and all the infighting. It's becoming ridiculous now. Some of the characters that are pushing it, I think, for money, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I have seen plenty of things on that. I've shared some stuff on Facebook. Really Graceful is the channel I watch, and she did a thing on that. And I just think it's really sad that a lot of the missing children have come from the Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, so close in that little hub of politicians that it's just disgusting to me that nothing's being done or no one's investigating. I don't understand that. It's just the sickest thing. I don't understand that at all.
And as we're asking them to here's what I find baffling to me. We have been asking ever since the WikiLeaks dumps. We've been asking them to investigate what's going on between DC and pedophilia and this trafficking, etc. And they keep blowing it off like it's not even an issue. I was going to say maybe another theory is maybe this particular police department decided to bring attention to it to try to further that, to try to push that along and encourage them to start the whole pedophile ring discussion altogether? I don't know, but I just find something strange about what they choose to cover and not cover, because it's just like, what you mean that we've been trying to get you guys to talk about, what's going on between these pizza parlors and what was found in WikiLeaks and these different DC people, etc. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. It's so many things that have been put out there. It's so many things that warrant an investigation, and it's just being pushed up under the rug. It's so many people high in power. But, I mean, this isn't the Bible. They say it, and this has been going on since the beginning of time. It's disgusting. It's terrible. And, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, there's plenty of channels out there that research it really well, that do a lot of good research and go deep into it, and they try to just dismiss it like it's fake news, because that's just the big thing to say, fake news. It's ridiculous at this point. And then there's so many people that are paid to kind of steer people away from the truth. I mean, it's disgusting, but just know that this stuff has been happening since way back. I mean, this is in the Bible. This stuff has been happening forever. And I mean, it's not going to stop. I mean, we can get the people we can get, but it's not going to stop, and there's not going to be no end to this until he returns. I mean, that's just what it is.
And that's why I thought that this story about the missing DC girls was fake news, because it led directly, which I knew from jump, like it led to runaways who weren't really missing. It was like, there's some kind of trafficking, child abduction scandal going on, and then you look into it, they just ran away. You know what I'm saying?
And
I'm just
that's the first thing. That's the first thing they put on the news. Oh, this girl, she just ran away. Oh, this girl was in a bad foster home, so she's just trying to bring light to it, and it's ridiculous. And of course, these are black people because they want to have a race issue with it and divide everybody even more, because people are so stupid, they fall for the bait, and they can't think outside of the box of how the media is trying to play everybody, because they can't think outside of the media box. It's ridiculous.
Because I'm like, there are missing kids, though. Do you want to look for them, or you want to sit here and talk about runaways? And then on top of that,
there's tons of missing kids.
There's tons of missing kids. DC is the perfect place to say, this is happening to black people. Like, everybody in DC black. So I'm sure it's more black people having car accidents. It's more black people eating ice cream. It's more black people doing everything in DC. They don't call it Chocolate City for nothing. So, I mean, the fact that you're telling me this is DC, that doesn't alarm me that this is something involving mostly black people, because it's DC.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. They spin it and they turn it, and they show people what they want to show them, so that people will think what they want them to think. And until people wake up and realize that they're being played, they're never gonna learn. They're never gonna learn. They're never gonna get it.
619-924-0779. Press 1. That lets me know that you want to speak. Otherwise, I assume that you're just listening. All right. So I think she added some really good perspective as well on this whole missing DC kids thing. And I want you guys to also weigh in terms of the health care bill. But, I mean, for me, it's just simple as that. We don't need no new bill. We need to put it back to hell the way it was. Okay? Now, what are we going to do with these sanctuary cities? What are we going to do with these sanctuary cities? As the last caller just mentioned, her kids are going to a school that's, would you say, 80-85% Mexican. I'm not going to lie to you and act like Mexican people are not cool, or there's no cool Mexican people, or I don't have any Mexican friends, or any of that. We're simply talking about the sovereignty of this nation. And I don't understand why we can't talk about borders in this country without it always having to turn into a matter of somebody accusing somebody else of being hateful, okay? Now, I don't think that it would probably be the wisest choice for our government to be running around here like cowboys trying to find Mexicans and send everybody back across the border, okay? With that being said, I'm not getting ready to go outside and protest if they do. I'm going to mind my business. Because you have another country to go to and you knew what you was doing when you came over here. Why can't we just discuss, though, how our students are impacted in the school system and the safety on our streets. Why can't we discuss that without it turning into a situation where everybody is being accused of being racist haters? Because I've talked to Mexican people who said they don't like the border situation either. They don't get along with illegal Mexicans. They don't get along with first-generation people, etc. And it's not only Mexicans. Okay? There are a lot of people from a lot of different countries. Asian people, white people, African people. Come over here on a visa or something like that, just never go home. But we're paying for it. I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you, okay? But I'm going over my budget, okay? And according to my budget, I just cannot afford to educate your anchor babies, okay? I can't afford to vaccinate your anchor babies, okay? I don't appreciate having to continue to increase vaccination on my babies, okay? I do not appreciate you being willing to work for a lower wage. I don't appreciate you being a scab. I don't appreciate those things. It's causing a problem. I don't appreciate you coming and popping a squat in America's largest, most vibrant cities. You can't walk over here and then pop a squat in San Diego, Los Angeles, Chicago. No. You need to keep walking, okay? Now, maybe somewhere in Wisconsin or Kansas, I don't know. Maybe they got room for you in Oregon, okay? But you can't come sit in LA and kick it. It's not going to cut it. You coming from a whole nother country, you want to come and set up a chop shop and drive your put together little cars and stuff, not have a license, not obey any traffic rules. They won't prosecute you. They don't make you pay traffic tickets. They don't make you half-ass appear in court. Then want to continue. A parking ticket in Los Angeles is never any cheaper than $60. And you got not that long to pay it before they start to double it. Okay? Why is that? So, y'all just making this place very uncomfortable. Okay? Now, everybody want to agree with me. Maybe I'm being a little bit liberal when I say maybe there's some parts because I drove from Los Angeles to New York City. There's a lot of places in this country that like nobody's really there. Okay? I'm sure a lot of you have some farming techniques, etc. Like if there was some kind of way where we had really strategically planned to allow people to come into this country and develop places that we're not developing for whatever reason, I mean, some kind of way it would just have to make sense. But to say you could just come into the largest cities and send your kids to school in Los Angeles and then that kind of stuff, like absolutely not. And build up a food stand selling tacos and pastor tacos and stuff with no damn food license or nothing. Police officers walk right up to you buying hot dogs and sausages. You ain't got a birth certificate. You're not an American citizen. No health food card or nothing. Why are they allowing that in this country? Then you want to say you're encouraging small business owners. How are you encouraging small business owners when you letting illegals sell, I don't give a damn what it is, chili cheese fries without no permit? And then in California has the nerve to have a franchise tax for small business owners. It's unacceptable. Caller from the 404 area code. Floor is yours.
Yeah, Kiki. Look, as a ultra-aggressive leftist, I figure me and you need to have a conversation before we get married eventually and fight every day about political ideology. I
I'm
already married
there, so you didn't completely miss the boat on that.
Small thing to a giant. But let me get into some of the things you were talking about tonight, though. First things first. The news media story about the missing girls. I think we're looking at that the wrong way. I think social media is actually driving news, not the other way around. You got producers and writers and journalists looking at social media for what story is trending, what's going to be popular, what's going to get eyeballs. And then they report afterwards. Now, sometimes they source it and do a good job of journalism, but for the most part, they're just throwing it up against the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, when that happens, you got social media, which people are not verified and sourced and well-researched, so they just post stuff. And something that gets posted and moved a couple of times before you know it, it's considered the truth. So that becomes the problem with things like that story. And the biggest problem we have right now in this country as far as media and information is concerned is Facebook and Twitter. They don't have a way of filtering anything. Facebook, I would say, is the most egregious because you can just, whatever gets to the top of the board gets to the top of the board. So people can live in their own echo chamber and only listen to people who think like them, and before you know it, they've created their own reality. That's how we get Pizzagate and things of that nature. So you got the ultra-extreme right, the ultra-extreme left, and then the two sides in the center, all coming with their own information and believing everybody else is an idiot reading fake news. So you have an extremely divided nation who is battling over information.
I was with you 1,000%, until you said Pizzagate, because Pizzagate is a situation where it took off on social media and then the news won't cover it for whatever reason, or they won't debunk what the evidence or information is being brought forth. Instead, they're just saying it's not credible because of who's reporting it, but they're not discrediting the information. But other than that, I think you might be right in this case.
Yeah, well, just put some time into debunking and see what you find. I found some things about it. I disagree. But, I mean, that's the nature of the time we're in right now because information is so quickly picked up that you can run a mile before you can figure out what's what. But look, the important thing there is we have no way of sourcing things from Facebook, and a journalist is kind of on the same status as some guy posting something to his Facebook wall or Twitter. And that's a bad state for a nation to be in.
Well,
now,
we can't
the media's that's the other part I was going to hit on. Now, the media side of this is the media has the same platform that what's your favorite TV show?
Oh, you don't even want to know. Go ahead.
Anything. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's say Real Housewives. Let's say one of those shows.
Okay.
They have the same structure as far as profit as the news cycle. So the news cycle has to get eyeballs in order to get ads and in order to, constantly get eyeballs on their situation. Same thing a TV show does. So once you put that motive in, the stories have to be salacious. If it bleeds, it leads. You get away from real information. You get away from debunking false information, and it's all about can you get people to sit and watch your show long enough to read the ads.
But ultra leftists, sir, what we want for the left to also consider is that we have evidence of the media colluding with the Democratic Party. So it's not just this information is misleading because they're lazy or because they're looking for the scoop. No, there is an agenda here that's well crafted and well thought out, and all forms of media.
Well, that's the other part of this. This whole idea of somebody being unbiased. There's not a person in this world who is unbiased. Everybody has experiences and things they believe, and they bring those attributes to whatever they're reading, whatever information they have. So all news media is biased to a degree. Now, if you let me finish, I'll explain. But go ahead.
In journalism school, you learn how to write an unbiased article: who, what, when, where, and why. That's all you got to do. You don't have to start, oversampling one group of people or labeling people and that kind of stuff like that. They know how to be objective when they want to.
No, you make the attempt to be objective, but you're still a person. You still have experiences, and that colors in a certain way what you do, no matter who you are. CNN, for instance, the CEO of CNN said afterwards, he bragged about how much money they made off of Trump. Well, then, at the same time, trying to break down Trump, saying that he didn't think Trump was credible and all this other stuff. So it's like you were good making money off him, but then you want to disparage him afterward. So you see the hypocrisy there, and also what that motive does when you have a news system based on what a television show does. So we got a problem with news media, period. And social media, I would say that's just a reflection of our education system as you look around. look, these are heavy things to look at. And the other thing you covered, the sanctuary cities, I won't really get into. The second topic that you covered, if you could please remind me what it was. I was trying to get to it.
Healthcare.
Ah, yes, the healthcare. Yeah, the healthcare. I mean, the Trump bill was a disaster. Honestly, I don't think he really supported Paul Ryan anyway. I think he was looking for a reason to have to be able to dump Ryan off the ship, because that wasn't really a Trump guy. So now he's got his reason. Paul Ryan is now persona non grata on the right, so he has nowhere else to go. As far as the Obamacare situation, Obamacare is a bad bill because there's so much that needs to be added to it in order to have a fully functioning, healthy bill. But since it's not there, the right thing to do would be don't touch it or fix the things that are wrong. So right now it's going to be expanded. People are picking up the Medicaid expansion in states where they turned it down. And we'll see going forward if it'll be fixed. But to a large degree, Americans don't understand how much we spend on health care, which is 1.9 trillion a year. It's the second biggest expenditure next to defense.
Those numbers don't mean anything. Only thing that matters is the amount that's individually coming out of your hands as an individual, right? Because once we get to trillions, now these are computer numbers. These people are playing a whole nother game, okay? The point is... Well,
let's talk about that, though.
Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about how we get there, though. If you have a board of directors, you have to bring back a profit. Now, if you're in every action in the healthcare industry, you have that same motive. So if you make the gloves, if you make syringes, if you make hospital masks, you have to bring back a profit. So everything is going to be marked up. So when you pay $20 for an aspirin at a hospital, it's not because that hospital is evil. It's because in order for them to function, they have to pull a profit out of every single portion of the industry because of the way it's designed. So the question is, are we going to change that design? And you as a regular taxpayer, if you have your health care already set up, you're paying your insurance, but somebody else keeps going to the emergency room, what does that do? And never pay the bill. That raises the cost for you. So you, no matter what, you are paying for someone else's health care. It's just whether it's indirect or direct.
But as an American, I should be able to say, you know what, I'm going to eat my Wheaties and I'm going to go to Whole Foods, and I don't want to pay for this at all. I'm just because I'm not getting sick, and they just keep charging me, and I'm not even using it, so I'm good. I don't want it. You should have that option.
Yeah, but the point is, even if you do have that option, you're still paying for it because you're going to be taxed. You're going to be hit with the huge exorbitant fees and the price range that it is as far as your healthcare policy that you pay for. It's raised because of so many people who have pre-existing conditions who end up, making the system way more expensive because their situations are so costly.
Well,
you see what I mean?
I do. The Medicaid expansion could be done without even having to create a whole healthcare bill with all this other little crap in there. Like if they just wanted to make it more available to more people under different circumstances and put some more money into that, they could do that without having to create a whole bill with all this other nonsense in it. They are trying to sneak stuff in, and it's all these things do not go together. They're trying to let everybody have their way, and it's just not working. So, what do you think about them taking back the way it was in the first place?
Well, the way it was in the first place was the original problem. We've got a healthcare system written by the healthcare industry, pharmaceutical industry, and the medical profession, and they're going to write things to their interests. We've been having this battle since you go back to Teddy Roosevelt tried to address healthcare way back in the day. Healthcare industry beat him, they beat Hillary, they beat Obama, they beat all of them to eventually sit down at the table with them and break bread.
Because healthcare is a luxury. Now, the thing is, these people got marketing so good that they won't tell you that. They tell you that you're entitled to it. But if they create a vaccine or a medication that's supposed to solve something for an ailment that you found a way to contract, then as far as they're concerned, they have the right to be compensated for it just by the way that this country is set up. So I feel like the reason why we are always chasing our tail in this country is because we want to have this free market system where you can create a company and make money off of it, and then we want to be humanitarians at the same time. And I just feel like that is just nonsense. Okay, this is just not going to happen. So instead,
well, that's the hypocrisy of Americans.
It's just this is why I did. I mean, come on, it's why you can't come up with a perfect solution. But you could just be honest about what it is you're doing, and then let the American people decide where we're going to make the compromises, as opposed to you making that decision for us. That would be my recommendation. All right, but did you have anything else you want to add?
Great point. I agree. No other point. I mean, you can go ahead to your other callers, but nice talking to somebody with different ideology, even though we don't agree. We can have a civil conversation, and someday we'll pull you a little more left.
But you just said you agree with. You just said you agree.
No, I agree with
me.
that one point. That doesn't mean I agree with you on health care. I just agree with that one point. That our hypocrisy is what allows us to continue. The fake humanitarian, fake concern part of us, and then also the free marketer part of us that wants to pull a profit out of everything. We can't be two places at once.
Exactly, and I just feel like that is a part of the nucleus of what conservatives are trying to express in some kind of way. It just comes off so bad. And I'm going to tell you, the PR, too, on the right is just not all that hot, okay? The thing is...
Hey, you need to be ashamed of what they did tonight.
Which part?
They pulled the privacy provision out of internet security, so now your internet service provider will not only be able to install spyware on devices, they will also be able to sell information about the websites you visit, things you actually look at on the internet, and we're going to have a huge fight about this, but internet privacy has basically...
And that would be different from yesterday in what way?
Well, before they couldn't. Obama had in the provision where they couldn't...
But they were doing it. How Obama
No, they weren't.
He the main one spying on everybody.
But I'll explain if you let me finish. Obama had a provision where they couldn't do that, so that wasn't possible. Matter of fact, you go back to the Tim Cook hearing where they were trying to get Apple to give a backdoor into their system, and he said, hell no. And he was able to do that because that law was on the book, so it was his choice. It wasn't a matter of that. Now, when you start talking about the NSA, that's a whole other ball of wax. No president is stopping the NSA or any other of our so-called security alphabet groups from doing what they do in the dark. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, see, this is the reason why the so-called truther movement that's now being called the alt-right, because they've just completely lumped truthers in, and the conservatives and Republicans, libertarians, all the same thing now. Regardless, there are conversations that a group of people have been having for a long-ass time, and this is one of them. So somebody telling me, oh, they got the paperwork now, they can sell your information. How you think Facebook knows to advertise to you wedding dresses and wedding rings and that kind of stuff after you Google it, you know, that you're looking for something, and next thing you know, all this advertising is being geared towards you. These people have been selling this information. They've been up for everybody who has a YouTube channel, has a radio, does any type of broadcast out here, especially talking about politics or conspiracies. They know damn well somebody been listening. So I don't care what you signed yesterday. We need everybody to get on one page, okay? And whether or not they're doing something.
All I'm saying is conservatives are usually really worried about privacy concerns and the idea that the government or any other body can go into something that they consider, you know, their own personal property.
Exactly.
Now, Facebook and those places use data analytics to try to, you know, send ads to you and try to get you to buy things. Yes, that part is true. But that's a different ball of wax from selling your information directly to data mining sites or directly to stores.
Sir,
like, that's a whole other stream of revenue for them, and I think that's why we saw this get passed.
I have personally bought and sold people's information just as part of my job description, okay? I have used tools and bots where I put in a simple search engine and get contact information for every related business owner who has anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? How is that information available through this one piece of software? Because somebody's data collected it, and then somebody sold it. So we already know that the capability is out there. So other than that, you are trusting with these companies that you use that this is not what they're doing. We've opened up things before and had spyware placed on our computers before, all of us, right? To where the whole computer just go ahead. It's even no good to you no more. So how do we know they don't have more sophisticated stuff that just doesn't alert you and make a whole big deal out of it? Okay. So as you just said, it's a big deal to conservatives. It's a big deal to conservatives not because conservatives were waiting on it to happen in the future. The conservatives have been saying this whole time, this is what they're doing. You know what I mean? And so now it's happening, and it seems like people are just now waking up to it and wanting to discuss it, and we're going, duh, we've been trying to tell y'all the whole time. Okay, so now that we're here, these are the people that we feel are responsible for that, and that's where the mishap is coming up, you know? They've been spying on everybody since 9/11. We gave it away then. All this rewording, you know, come on now.
Yeah, but we do have, but can we at least say that something that's either done nefariously and something that's done in the open legally are two different settings? Because once you get to that setting, you're talking about,
it's all nefarious.
Because I'm sure Apple is now creating a whole new department just figuring out how they're going to make money off of this, because this is a huge stream of revenue when you talk about how many users they have and what they could possibly do with this.
Listen,
this is a $1 billion bill.
When you sign up for a cable or a phone, they automatically put your number in the damn white pages directory. These people collect information and sell it to other people all the time. And it does matter if it's nefarious or not, because I don't know about it. I didn't consent to it. Now, if I say, yes, you can sell my information to somebody who might have related offers, then that's one thing. Other than that, it should be completely illegal. But I get your point.
You saying that reminds me of the terms and conditions we sign for all of our devices anyway. Anybody ever gone through that with a fine-tooth comb? You'd be amazed at what you find. So, yeah,
on your computer,
I understand what you're saying.
You have allowed Facebook and Twitter to use your camera and to use your microphone. They didn't say only with your permission, ... They said, will you allow us to use your camera and your microphone, period. Yes. We don't know what's in the damn terms and conditions. All right, let me place you back on mute here because I want to get to these other callers. Been waiting for a long time, okay?
No,
but I really do appreciate you calling in.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. No, I really do appreciate y'all calling in. Of course, we ain't got to agree on everything. That ain't even the point. The point is to have good dialogue. So he called in and brought some good points and was at least able to substantiate his own argument, you know? I just feel like a lot of times the left and the right, people who love America are saying the same thing. It's just that we are coming at it from two different places. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the core of it, we want the same things, but in terms of strategy, that's where it differs. Okay. 314 area code. You're live. Talk to Steve. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it's always good to follow Naj, that last caller. He's an ultra leftist and a socialist too.
Oh, okay. He love America.
But do he love America? Well, the way he talk, I don't think he do. But he don't have no place else to go.
Okay.
Because he wouldn't be able to say the things he say. But here's the thing. You know, you was talking about illegals, and I'm going to talk about this health care. And see, you're smarter than most hosts, and way much smarter than probably 95% of the callers. And they keep saying Donald Trump lost. But the thing is, in 2012, you know, that side, that political party or constituent told them what they want. They want to repeal what they have now. And you got three factions in the Republican Party. You got those who wanted Obamacare 2.0. You had those who wanted the thing repealed, and you had another group that's in the middle. And between those three, they're going to have to work something out. They're going to have some difficult problems. You know what I think? I don't like paying for something that everybody else say that they need, and I don't think that health care is a right. I think it's a responsibility you should pay for. But this is what I say, that they should have it where they have point of sale cross data. Other words, if your doctor and you know that your health situation is that you're not supposed to be eating certain things, you're not supposed to have high sodium content foods, or if you wanted to buy that pizza that's on sale for $10 and you want double cheese and double this, that, and the other now, and when they go to ring it out, the data comes up and say you're not supposed to have this. Now the pizza go up to $15 because that extra $5 go into the pool, where people who's not demonstrating self-behavior, then if they get sick, they get paid out of that pool. That's what they need to have. Because I don't think that I'm supposed to be responsible for people that do irresponsible things. If you're going to tie a bungee cord around your waist and jump off a bridge and the cord breaks and you fall and bump your head and you got to be... I should not have to pay for that. My insurance, my automobile insurance is super low. You know why? Because I haven't had a moving violation since the 70s. But you got people out there that have accidents all the time, so guess what? Their insurance premium is high accordingly. Same thing in my business. I pay work comp insurance. The people that work in certain activities, the rate is higher. Especially if it's a activity that's very dangerous. For my secretary, her rate is very, very low. And if I have a lot of Kiki claims against my work comp insurance, then my modifier go up. Whereas if I had $10 worth of insurance due, if all of a sudden that I've had a lot of claims, my modifier may go up 1.5. Now I got to pay $15 toward that insurance. So the same thing can be done with people who's irresponsible, that's going out living these lifestyles, having sex without protection, and doing drugs and alcohol and everything else. They should be made to be surtaxed for that type of activity, and not the ones who are just the opposite. And one thing on the immigration. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before you switch topics, this is the reason why I feel like the left, and especially since they want to be in bed with the media, like they never have any right to talk because they want people to feel good about making bad decisions. They want to encourage negative behavior, and then they want to come and tell the people who have been asking them to stop doing that to pay for it.
Absolutely. And guess what? They want the mandate me or mandate somebody who's not doing that type of activity. Then the ones that want it to be paid for, they don't want me to have an AK-47 AR-15.
To protect yourself from these Looney Tunes out here.
To protect myself and my welfare and my family. They want me to pay for their health and welfare, but they don't want me to have what I need to have that I think I need to have in order for my safety and welfare.
And can I take it a step further?
Go ahead.
And then, on top of that, they want you to not be able to take care of and protect your own family, but they want you to be worried about what's going on overseas, the next country next to you, with these people trying to do with their kids down in Mexico or Philippines or whatever else. So that's to segue into your comment on illegal immigration.
Absolutely. Let's go into that now. You know, you hear all this talk about how in the world is Trump going to get rid of 11 million illegals? Duh. Hell, they self-deporting. They leaving. It's so bad that in Philadelphia they canceled Cinco de Mayo in May because they scared they're going to get caught. Well, you might as well plan on something else that day if you had plans for participating in that celebration in Philadelphia. Now, another point. According to Selective Service law, everybody's supposed to register with Selective Service, even illegals. So if they don't, because you know they're not, that's the law, they're supposed to register with Selective Service. But the information is not supposed to be used for anything but that. But we know, hell, your Social Security number is used for other things other than your tax filings. But here's the thing. All Donald Trump needs to do, he needs to do two things. One, he needs to tell agencies to stop collecting these fines on these mandates if people choose not to get involved in that Obamacare. Secondly, he needs to put in a order that the information be shared of illegals that's registered with the Selective Service so you can go after their butts and get them out of here.
Or pull a number.
There you go. Do that too. So no, to solve some of these problems is not all that difficult. People just got to be able to show that they got the audacity to do so. Because the consequences for not doing the right thing now is going to be multiplied 3-fold, 10-fold in the long run.
Well, it seems like we cannot get a large part of our country to understand that we are not putting the life vest on, we're not putting the oxygen mask on first in a lot of different areas. What do you think will help them to understand that if we continue to do things the way we are, nobody's going to be able to have anything.
Well, if it's health insurance today, which I think, like I said, is a responsibility, not a right, then what is it tomorrow? Cable TV, subscriptions to Planet Fitness or some health club? I mean, what is it going to be tomorrow? It would never stop, and we know it won't stop. We've seen these things before. This Medicaid expansion, we've had similar things in the past where the federal government will subsidize a state, but guess what? At some time in the near future, they're going to abandon that state. Now the people of the state's got to pick up that little part that the federal government was providing. Now, guess what? Along with these other increases, especially here in the St. Louis area, you got an increase in property taxes. You got an increase in gasoline. You got increases in your cable, your internet. What I'm paying for in 1995, years ago, now they want $64 for. Another increase. You got an increase to go to the zoo, to take your kids where you can enjoy yourself. Now, if you on fixed income, how in the world do you manage that? How do a young person who's saving for a down payment for a house, who's saving to start a business, how about those who wants to donate to the cause, to the struggle? Like black folks say, blacks don't never support their own stuff. Well, hell no. How can they when all their extra money is going to these damn taxes, these backdoor taxes like Obamacare?
Right. Like I said, we don't have a black-owned electricity company, so, I mean, by the time I get through paying the necessities, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but... But, I'm going to say this about you, as I wrote in the chat room, you're a breath of fresh air. It's not very often that you can run into a host that is knowledgeable like you are, astute as you are, and able to communicate. I mean, that is very, very important. You're able to communicate and get a point across and recognize and understand the details of what somebody else is talking about. That there goes a long way.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm going to continue to listen.
All right, I'll place you back on hold. Here. All right, and then caller from the 404 area code, since we were talking about you, we got to give you your opportunity to respond.
Oh, well, it's not a big deal. Me and Bianchi, we disagree on many, many things, but there are some things we do agree on. But no matter what, my ultra-leftist feelings are always going to upset him because he's a conservative man. And I consider him a good guy to have a conversation with. So it's not a thing of us hitting each other and looking down at each other or thinking somebody's an ideologue. We can usually suss things out, but there are certain things we just going, we just going to bump heads on. So his new idea of why don't we extend freedom to gun ownership and things like that if we're talking about freedom of health care and changing that whole system. And I think there's a lot of movement to be done there. I think people can come to agreement and start doing a little quid pro quo as opposed to yelling at each other and saying my side is the angels and your side is the devil, because that's typically American political conversation. So it's devolved to that. So we're going to have to come to some point of understanding.
Let me ask you, how much do you feel like race plays a part in that too? Because I feel like a lot of times, especially these days in the day where they're, trying to spin everything and make stuff look good, there is a lack of diversity on TV in terms of political analysts, et cetera, that are Republican or conservative or representing another view outside of what the liberals are representing.
Yeah, I think that's my side is never given enough time argument. And I think everybody makes that argument. But when you really lay it out, you go to talk radio, that's conservative space. You go to the blog, more conservative than anything. You go to social media, they're represented just as well as the left is. So I think that's everybody thinks their side is not. It's kind of like the electoral college thing. Whenever our side loses, we say, man, we need to really look at this electoral college. We need to go to the popular vote. That argument always comes when our guy loses. And I think that's a part of that conservative talking point of they're underrepresented. Because honestly, you go to editorial staff or the corporate boardroom, that's typically conservative. The people in front of the camera, typically liberal, but who makes the decision on what gets run? So, I mean, that's there.
That's the bottom line. All right. And
indeed.
then...
But, yeah, you have a good night.
Oh, thank you so much. I will. Caller from 832, you have your hand raised again.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live. Did you want to speak again?
Hi, yes?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I was picking up your line. I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. So I had something to comment on the healthcare that everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the healthcare. So recently, on February 25th, I lost my sister. She was born with cystic fibrosis, which is just a terminal illness. So for pretty much almost all her life, she had Medicaid because you're born with this disease, you're going to die from it. So the life expectancy is maybe 20s, 30s, depending on the severity of your case. My sister was 34 when she died. So the past 2 years, she stayed with me pretty much almost her whole life until the past year. She moved out. She wanted to have her own place, and she wanted to try to live her life and do her own thing and try to make it on her own. So she was denied Medicaid because they told her she wasn't sick. Well, every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, she would have to go to the hospital, and we would call it a tune-up for major IV antibiotics or whatnot, because it mostly affects your lungs or your digestive tract. It affects everything. You have extra secretions in your body with cystic fibrosis. So you have extra mucus in your lungs. A lot of people with cystic fibrosis have diabetes and everything, which she didn't get diabetes until maybe a year before she died. So she was denied. She was denied Medicaid. She was denied health care because they said, well, you can have a job and you don't get your Social Security, which if she got her Social Security was about $500 a month. Who can live off of that? Nobody. No one can live off of $500 a month. So she was working, making about, I don't know, maybe $1,000 a month at the most, and they denied her the health care. So I still have bills coming to my house because she stayed with me. With hospital bills, $40,000, $50,000 for her being in the hospital with her terminal illness, denied Medicaid, while she has this illness where she is going to die. There's no cure. Yet, and not to put my business out there, yet my husband, his child that we have custody of, her mother gets food stamps, Medicaid, housing for said child that doesn't live with her for the past 3 years, and she lives free off of all that, but she gets all the benefits, all the health care, all the Medicaid free because she claims this child. I've reported her. It took them 6 months to get back to me. I sent them documents. They won't return my calls. Yet we can't even afford, and we pay $800 a month for insurance to go to the doctor, to take care of ourselves. We don't even go to the doctor unless it's like bad. I'm a nurse, so I try to fix it all. So it's bad if we go to the doctor. It's ridiculous.
Do you feel like even the way it is right now, with all the money that's being poured into it, the people who really need it are still not even getting it, and it's basically just being wasted?
Exactly. Because I'm considered rich. I don't know where the money's at because I don't see it. But, hey, I'm considered upper middle class. Yet, after they take everything they take from me and we pay our insurance for health care and everything, we barely scrape by. Yeah, we don't live in the ghetto. Yeah, we live in a nice neighborhood. Yeah, okay, so be it. But guess what? One major thing happens, we're in trouble because we still live check to check. But my problem is we pay for $800 a month for insurance, but we can't even use the insurance because we really can't afford that shit. It doesn't make any sense. And yet my sister with a terminal illness gets denied Medicaid. A terminal illness, she gets denied Medicaid to get the help she needs, and she's dead now because she didn't even want to go because she was worried about bills. Yet we have people like my husband's baby mother that's getting free Medicaid for a child that doesn't even live with her because she's a mother of a young child. Are you fucking kidding me? Incredible.
Well,
it's been reported. Nothing's happening.
I'm really sorry to hear about your sister. That is just awful, you know. It is really a shame that it is being wasted, and I think that means a lot too to hear somebody say, you know, you and your sister could have really benefited from them extending her the benefits, the Medicaid, if they would have approved her, and they decided not to. But they're not.
No, because they said she was not sick because she could work, because her job required her sitting at a desk typing in numbers. Okay.
But regardless.
But it
on
doesn't
the
matter.
Side,
terminal illness. Exactly.
Well, on the flip side, there are people who are qualifying, but not even based on a health care need. You know, like you were saying,
exactly.
She extended to health care because she has a child, not because she's sick. And so whatever the money is that costs to insure her, that's coming out the budget, even if she doesn't even use it.
Exactly.
So it is,
and then
it is a wasteful process to do it that way.
Like, what kind of healthcare system is that? Like, we pay all this money for my whole family to be insured. So since I've got married, and we take care of extra kids besides us because we've taken a couple more. So it's 10 of us, 2 adults, 8 children. So we take care of all these. We can't even afford dental care. Like, we have dental insurance, but to actually get the work they say we need, it's like $10,000. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? What's the point?
I know it is.
There's no point. It's not helping us. Like, we don't go to the doctor unless I think someone's fixing to die because, you know, I mean, I'm in the healthcare field, so what's the point of going to the doctor unless I think, okay, this might be beyond me trying to help you because I can't help you. I'm kind of worried. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't even feel like that.
Man. So what do you think they should do? Do you think they should put it back the way it was? Do you think they should extend it to more people? What do you think would be?
Number one, Obamacare is some bullshit. Everyone that was for Obama, because the first go around I voted for him. Yeah, I did. I was full. This was way before I was awake to the nonsense that's going on in my world around me. I sure did. I really did, and I was really blind to my world. But I mean, it's just beyond ridiculous. Like, everyone needs to stand up and speak their mind. Like, it's like everyone's too scared, or they don't want to say nothing, or they don't want to rock the boat. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with everyone, or they're too scared about being considered a bigot or racist. I don't know what the problem is, but it's a lot of black people that are ashamed of the shit that Obama did. Like, he's a disgrace. Like, what did he do good for us? Nothing. He's a joke. I'm just embarrassed that I even voted for him the first time.
When Hillary Clinton became secretary,
she's the spawn of Satan. She's Satan's sister. That's what I told everybody. I voted for her.
That's when I was just like absolutely done. Like, I'm sorry, that's the worst thing you could have did. She was supposed to disappear. We've been trying to get rid of her.
Man, she's terrible. And if people don't wake up and realize what's going on in the world around them and how they're being programmed to just accept the shit that they're pushing down everyone's throat, this gay agenda and all this garbage. And, like, there's not that many gay people in the world, but they keep showing it on that damn TV and the movies, which everyone plugs into every day.
Yep.
Like, no, that's not reality because that is not factual. But because you see it every day, you get desensitized to it, so you accept it as the norm. It's just garbage.
Exactly.
People better wake up. They better wake up.
Thank you so much for calling back in. I got to get to another caller because we got about like 30 minutes left in the show, but I really appreciate you sharing your opinions with us today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Caller from the 678 area code. Let me bring you online here. The floor is yours.
Hello, Kiki. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing well. It's great to talk to you. Thank you for picking up my call. I haven't been listening long, but I did want to just chime in. I was really sorry to hear the story that your previous caller shared about her sister and the medical expenses. One of the things that I typically try to say to friends of mine is I try to say there is a difference between health care and health insurance. And in country, it is illegal for you to walk into a hospital and not be treated. It's posted. You will be treated. And many times what we hear, the propaganda we hear is that, well, you can't, you're denied access to care. We have to cover everyone. We should take care of everyone. Well, we do take care of everyone. That's why we have the problems, some of the problems that we have financially is that we don't deny anyone care, right?
Okay.
I had a situation, and this was, I've always thought that, but I never really thought I would be in a situation where I would be a recipient of that. I walked into a freestanding emergency department, and I didn't really know how sick I was. I think I was paying COBRA, and my previous employer had made changes to the insurance, to our insurance cards, our numbers, everything. I still had my old cards. I was out of state. I walked into the emergency department. I was short of breath. They took me. Of course, if you're short of breath, they triage you. You go back immediately. Turns out I was extremely ill. They never said anything to me about my insurance until, I don't know. I mean, I was they wanted me in intensive care and decided, no, we'll go a step down. Once they kind of figured out what was going on, I mean, it took a few days. Someone came to my room and said, I want to talk to you about some programs for insurance. And I said, what do you mean? I have insurance. She says, oh, I didn't know that. And I gave her my cards. Well, they never came back to tell me your insurance is not, the numbers aren't processing. So I didn't know that until after I was discharged from the hospital, and I saw the bills. And then I realized, wait a minute, my insurance didn't pay. I was a patient in hospital, inpatient, and I was treated, but my insurance was never billed because they couldn't bill it because I was giving them the wrong information. But they never mentioned that to me, okay? And so on the one hand, yay, they treated me, they took care of me as they should have. But on the other hand, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, right, that I was now responsible for. So then you have to work through the bureaucracy of the insurance company and, getting them to talk to this particular all the red tape that you have to work through. And when you're ill, that's very difficult to do, right? So, but that's a part of what has to happen is that, yes, it becomes your individual responsibility, but you have to you or someone has to advocate for you to work through all of that red tape. So it took, it was a nightmare, but I feel like it took over a year because, of course, the hospital's contract with with all of these specialty providers. So it's not just the hospital that you are in debt to. You're in debt to the various specialty providers that come to the hospital, to try to figure out what's wrong with you and to try to treat you. So,
and you don't even know that you have made any type of agreement or anything like that with these companies. You assume it's the hospital, and then another
That's exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly,
well,
when you go in and you're just sick, right? You can't. All you can do is give them your ID, and they treat you. You have no idea what's about to happen to you. So that's a good thing, right?
Still different. Right. That's still different from now. That's an emergency situation. But in the instances where people do have a pre-existing condition, or they just want to make sure they have some preventative health care,
right.
That's not available to everybody across the board. I feel like it's what the caller before was saying in a situation where it's not an emergency and you want to try to get healthier.
And that was a little bit, her case was a little bit confusing to me, and she is a nurse. So I would like to hear more from her, because I don't understand why her sister didn't qualify for Medicare. Okay, so the way I learned it in school is, Medicaid, you aid the poor, right? Medicare, you care for the elderly and the infirmed. So if her sister had a chronic illness, and I'm so sorry that she's passed away, I don't understand why she didn't qualify for Medicare. So
yeah, because for her particular condition, they just felt like they weren't treating it, And then the other thing too is, like, in different places, before Obamacare anyway, they would say if you are a young person and you don't have any kids, I mean, it really kind of didn't matter what your health care situation was. They weren't going to give you Medicaid or Medicare unless you were pregnant. That'd be like the only circumstance under which you'd be getting any kind of medical assistance before you reach a certain age. And that's the thing they tell people that they are. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I have to say that before Obamacare, I mean, I've had a few different situations. I've had, obviously, health insurance through my employer, but then I've also just had catastrophic health insurance where, I was young and thought I was healthy and I didn't need, some big plan just in case I was in a car accident. I want to, have insurance if something happens, some sort of emergency situation. I want to have, some basic insurance and go to the doctor once a year, that kind of thing. But I will say that before Obama, and I did hear the caller mention disability. So I think that issue may be just a tad bit more complicated, and I only say this as well as someone who's had a life-threatening illness, that even before Obama, under Medicare, when you have a chronic issue, and unfortunately, it's the government cutting through all of the red tape. We've paid into Social Security, but Social Security is bankrupt. Social Security doesn't have money, but we've paid into it so that in the event that you are disabled, that you can access the disability, quote unquote, insurance. The problem is that you have bureaucrats who are administrating that, and
exactly.
And so the amount of red tape, unless you are about to die tomorrow, to access what you have paid into is ridiculous.
Well, that's right. But I'm saying we keep talking about healthcare, but who are we fooling? Because at no time is this ever playing out or serving the people in the way that y'all claim that it's supposed to work. You're not even coming close to what your supposed goal is, and even your goal still doesn't even make no damn sense. So if you guys are just going to just make it free for everybody, then I don't understand why we're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why they keep distracting people, because there are other things we could be worried about that would put more money into people's hands that would make the situation at least go down. It would be as hard to swallow. You know what I mean? I'm sure if you're spending hundreds of dollars on health care, well, you could use some more money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Some from somewhere else.
Definitely.
While y'all working this out.
Well, I just wanted to say, even for the for the other callers that you might have, that you, if you have a chronic issue, if you have a life-threatening issue, if you have a disability, then that is the purpose of Medicare. So it can be a very laborious situation to have to apply for and go through, but that is the avenue that we have in our country. And once you are approved, I mean, your doctors obviously are saying, yes, you have a life-threatening illness, or you have a chronic illness, or you have a disability. It just takes it just takes all of this time and energy to finally get your approval. But once you do, that's why the Medicare is there to care for you and to provide the medical coverage as if you were a senior citizen. However, I guess the other point that I want to make, so I just want to say to people not to be, I want to say to people to fight for that, because that's a part of being an American. That's a part of being someone who has worked. If you have worked in this country, then you have paid into that, and fight for it. So that's number one. Number two, if you have bills that are yours or bills that are belong to a family member and you cannot afford to pay those bills, stay on top of the hospitals, because they will negotiate with you. And I just say this as someone, a single person, with, that I've had a lot of issues. And so it's very stressful, but many times just walking into those hospitals and saying, I'm not leaving, I want to talk to somebody, and we have to do something about this bill. And calling and nagging. And, I mean, who has time to do that? I mean, it really is but they will work with you. Many times they will wipe it all out.
And it'll be worth it.
They will wipe it out.
And it'll be worth it then,
because they can write it off, right? But most people will not advocate for themselves. So I guess the whole point that I want to make is, number one, there is no shortage of health care. You will be treated in this country. So if you have an issue, you have a chronic issue, there is treatment for you. It is just that's the one thing I want to say. Number two, if you have these bills that you cannot pay, hospitals, they will work with you. Doctors even will work with you. If you say, look, I can't even afford this, I can't. Right. Most doctors will be like, what? Forget it. I'm not charged. Then I won't charge you for this. So well, you don't. We don't always have to.
Oh, finish your sentence. I'm sorry. We got 15 minutes left. I got a couple people waiting in queue. But
I'm pretty much done. I just didn't want other callers. I just kind of wanted to bring in this other perspective that you're not doomed if you have a chronic issue. One of the things about being an American, the reason why people come to this country and they come here illegally, is because they know they're going to be treated even if they don't have the money for it. So if you're an American, then doggone it, absolutely if you are an American, certainly. Yes, exactly. Right. And it may take, it can be just a very stressful, the system is messed up, but, get to some people, get a friend, go to a church, get someone to help you advocate and keep your sanity while you work through the system. Because if you persevere and you have patience, you will see that you can have that debt wiped out, and you can also get the treatment that you need. And so I'll just leave you with that, and you're doing a great job as usual, and I hope you have a good week. Okay? Thanks for letting me talk.
Thanks to you. Thank you, and thank you for that. And I know she gave you guys some really good advice, especially on what to do if you're stuck with hospital bills. And to call them and try to get that worked out. We got 13, almost 14 minutes left. Caller from the 360 area code. Did you have something to add as well?
Yeah, pretty good topic. I think something that can be improved with the insurance companies is they need to prioritize their coverage from vital and non-vital. And I know our agenda this past administration was transgender. He tried to popularize transgender surgeries and the culture. It was a created culture. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want my tax dollars going to somebody's cosmetic surgery. That's not a vital thing.
Nope.
Do you agree?
So do you? I agree. Who, me? I agree 1,000,000%. I mean, do you think that how much of that do you think is going on? Do you think it's a sizable portion that's going to reconstructive surgeries? Because I've heard of some inmate getting a sex change and supposedly taxpayer dollars paid for that. Do you think that that's something going on? Because then where will it stop? Will we be paying for nose jobs and stuff too?
Well, look at how it was pushed in the media. It's everywhere. The arguments, the debates, the ads, and people coming out with statistics. People are transgender community are around the 40% mark for suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Before and after the surgery. Right. The surgery doesn't help their chances of surviving their own suicide. So I feel bad, but to create a disease and offer the cure and have taxpayers pay for that, as far as most insurance companies, they need to decipher what's vital and what's non-vital, and that's a good start, because they're racking up bills for people who shouldn't be able to necessarily afford cosmetic surgery. Look at 20 years ago, that stuff was expensive.
Right. And now you have a lot of young girls doing it. Yeah, I was saying it's the thing to do. You've got a lot more young people doing it, and people who, like you said, they shouldn't be able to do it because they shouldn't even be able to afford to go in and just completely make themselves look like a totally different person.
Right. We've got people dying. We've got people dying of serious conditions that can be fixed because of money. Right. And here, to have people playing around with their bodies with insurance money, it's just kind of a slap in the face to anybody who's dying right now or who has lost somebody to something that could have been prevented. And I'm one of those people. I've lost family members that could have been prevented, but insurance companies, they stop after a while. No more. So.
And then is there a more sinister plan at work too? Because you said that they created a disease, which is exactly what they did at one point. A transgender person, that was a mental health condition or disorder, and even today it's still in there. It's just worded kind of funny. One day I'll break it out. But they want to convince everybody at once. They just woke up one day and decided, okay, no longer is it a mental health issue, even though at least half of these people are suicidal. They're suicidal because they have a mental health disorder. That's why they're suicidal. And then you have made it illegal for anybody to even attempt to treat it. And then you turn around and say that the antidote to this is something physical and not something going on in their brain. This doesn't make any sense.
Right. So, it's a fundamental building block of science. And when you start tearing those apart, just so you don't offend people, what is the use of science or fact or knowledge in general? If you're just going to go through the whole book of knowledge and tear out pages, what are we going to school for?
Well, you absolutely bring it back to a point that I made in the beginning, because I was saying that, first of all, if we're going to do health care and the way Obama presented it all, universal and all that other madness, I mean, there are places that we can cut. And I believe that this pseudoscience communities that we're dumping all this money in that's not finding any cures and keep making up diseases and that kind of stuff like that. I mean, not only are you using taxpayer dollars for cosmetic surgery, but just think about the fact that you have people who go, you know what, I'm not going to be a brain surgeon because instead I want to do cosmetic surgery, you know. Really talented minds and stuff just going into a field simply because there's more money and more incentive to do that, probably less malpractice insurance and that kind of stuff like that, you know. So they're taking the integrity out of the hospital as well. And I watched some documentary, I think it was, what was I watching? American Greed. I was watching American Greed. They had a story on there where this doctor was using like old rusty nails from Asia somewhere, found like some cheap like hardware nails to use on people in his surgery. It was ridiculous. And then he was being investigated and he was still allowed to operate while he was being investigated, and his profit margin was so great because he wasn't using these medical grade, and I'm sure there's a scam probably going along with that pissed him off in the first place, you know, but he wasn't using these medical grade nails and stuff. He's using stuff that you're supposed to be using, probably put together a house or whatever. They investigate him and he's still doing it, you know, so they could have prevented more people from having these horrible reactions to whatever I mean, it's just like it's about money everywhere with these people these days, and so it's just sickening. And so
well,
we should just start giving them money.
The FDA isn't doing their job. They're supposed to be approving drugs and doing tests. Why is it that if you go to Rite Aid, you go through all their vitamins and herbs and vitamins that are known to help you with certain things, but on the back of it, it says it hasn't been evaluated by the FDA. That's their job.
Right.
And so one saying I just heard was every patient cured is a customer lost.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a vitamin that'll cure you, then they're going to try and manipulate chemicals to make that happen chemically instead, so they can keep the vitamin unevaluated on the shelf.
So I take it that I take it you're a Trump supporter as well? Are you a Trump supporter?
I was dragging my feet as long as I could, but it was Hillary Clinton, so yeah.
Hillary pushed you over the edge.
Oh yeah, ever since I was a little kid, I heard my grandpa going off about what she was doing back in the 90s. My dad was talking about all this shady stuff. They knew all of the stuff about what she was doing back then, and she came back around now when I have kids. So my kids are probably going to remember me. But it's just, she's had this whole career. It was dangerous, and I knew more about her than I knew about Trump, so I kind of gambled. This was the first election I participated in, and I don't know what to think, but cause I had a really good friend that just had to go to court. He was from Mexico City. His wife was from El Salvador. She was a citizen, but he was really afraid because Trump won, and I kept trying to say, no, you don't have anything to worry about. And he's got kids my kid's age. But he just hired a lawyer, and the lawyer said to exit the country and have a court date. And so I was doing everything I could, talking to other lawyers to ask questions, and he just won his court case. So he was allowed back in. On his own free will, though. He exited the country under advice, and he actually won his court case. So that makes me really happy because he deserved to stay. His kids are born here. His kids are American.
And he made a conscious effort to legally make sure that he was going to be able to stay with no problem.
Yeah, and one of the best people I know. He's one of the nicest people. Good dad, good kids. And I was worried for him, and I felt like it could be my fault, partly, if things go wrong. So I've been freaking out. So good day, good week.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for calling and voicing your opinion. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, it can be challenging when you have personal friends and loved ones that are affected by the immigration crisis. And so the question is, do you look at it on a case-to-case basis, or do you look at it more so as what's best for the country as a whole? You know, that's a personal question that we could all ask ourselves. Or do you say, this is how I feel the country should be run, but I'm willing to make a personal exception in some of these cases here. Let's see, do we have caller from the 314 area code? Are you still on the line here?
Yeah, I was listening.
Oh, did you have anything
I kind
else
of agree with
add?
you. I believe it's what's good for the country as a whole, because where would you ever stop that? So anyway, you know, that last story, I guess it turned out to be a nice one. But, you know, I know American citizens who married foreign spouses, and after years and years, they still can't get their spouse in the legal way, paying the fines, filling out the forms, producing documentation. So it's wrong.
Yeah, it is. All right.
But
well,
anyway,
thank you so much.
I'm going to let you go. Thanks for the show.
Thank you. All right, we got a couple minutes left here on the line. Caller from the 832 area code. Did you have anything else you want to add before we end today's episode?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, yes, I was just gonna refer to an earlier caller that had spoke up to me. I'm the one that my sister had passed away, and she was refused Medicaid due to her terminal illness, and she wasn't accepted for Medicare, so that wasn't even an option for her. So I don't know about the confusion on that, but yeah, she wasn't even given that option of a Medicare, even though she had a chronic terminal illness. Medicaid was her only option, and they refused her due to her ability to be able to have a job to try to self-sustain herself. They said because she could work, she was not disabled, even though she was terminal. So I just wanted to clarify that. So yeah, Medicare was not an option. So I mean, I work in the healthcare, and we have many patients that come to my facility that are Medicaid pending or whatnot, and I see a lot of patients that are not getting care because they don't have Medicaid or they're Medicaid pending or whatnot. I mean, it's really sad. It's really sad. So it's just disgusting. The whole healthcare system is sad.
Yeah, it is. So we're going to get into it a little bit further on future episodes, and I really appreciate you calling and sharing that with us. So it did spark a healthy debate as well, and you guys got some information on what to further look into if you are looking for help, as well as framing the conversation so that you can kind of think about how these things affect your neighbor, because I just really feel like we got to make decisions for what's best for the entire country so that there's something left for the generations coming after us. Okay, so place you back on mute here, but thank you so much for clearing that up as well. And so I'll be back, you guys, on Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, doing this every Tuesday, Thursday. Talk is cheap with Kiki Green, and I love you guys calling in and voicing your opinion, and in the chat room and on social media as well. Until next time, take care of yourself.